let me get right to the heart of the issue. What exactly are the proponents of Sharia courts to southwest Nigeria? What are they after? I'll tell you. It has got absolutely nothing to do with issues of Yoruba Muslim interest. That's arrant nonsense, and it's a smoke screen. Here are some vital socio-economic statistics which confers competitive advantage on the southwest region of Nigeria. And these are the things that these people seek to destroy. Number one, southwest economy. Lagos State GDP is 41 trillion naira, or US dollars 29 billion. Almost 27% of the entire Nigerian GDP. And Lagos economy is the 7th largest in the whole of Africa as of 2022. Lagos economy also accounts for over 50% of Nigeria's non-oil revenues. Now, Lagos State is to Nigeria what London is to the United Kingdom, what California and New York cities are to America, and what Beijing is to China. It is the heartbeat of our nation's economy. Now, with a visionary and competent leadership in the 6 southwest states, these 6 states of the southwest of Nigeria can become the largest economy in Africa in a mere 10 years. The competitive advantage of the southwest includes financial services. That's the heart of financial services. ICT, all the fintechs are there. All the big tech companies are in Lagos. Manufacturing, the big manufacturing companies are there. Oil and gas. I mean, Dangote Petrochemical Refinery Company is situated in Lagos. Last year, Dangote paid a whopping 402 billion naira in taxes. Another competitive advantage of the southwest is agriculture, cash crops, and all whatnot. And of course, culture and entertainment. That's another competitive advantage. In December last year, Lagos State alone earned 71.6 million US dollars just on tourism, hotels and accommodation. 71.6 million naira, or 107 billion naira just in 1 month. Lagos State earned. So, and that shows the enormous potentials of Lagos State as a favorite tourist destination. There are hundreds of Europeans, Americans, and Asians who are itching to come and experience the Lagos cultural and entertainment phenomenon, even as I speak. And even as I speak here, there are groups of local tourists boarding aircraft and train rides from Lagos to various, southwest states on tourist visits. The second thing they're after, our educational advantage. There are more universities in the southwest region than the other regions. Indeed, Ogun and Osun states alone have more universities than the entire northwest and northeast regions put together. Why? The late premier of southwest Nigeria, Obafemi Awolowo, drilled it into our fathers, the strategic necessity of education as a tool for human emancipation from the ravages of poverty, ignorance, and servitude. This is the reason why Yorubas prioritize education and learning far more importantly than religion. Now, the third thing these people are after, our leading status in the professions, economics, medicine, law, engineering, pharmacy, banking, accounting, auditing, journalism, insurance, stockbroking, computing, creative arts, name it, literature. In some of the above-mentioned professions, Yorubas were either the first in Nigeria or even in Africa. Professor Taslim Elias, that I mentioned earlier, Nigeria's first Attorney General, was the first African to bag a Doctor of Laws degree, and the first African to become the first African and the only one till date to become the president of the International Court of Justice. No African has done that after him. The first Nigerian lawyer was Mr. Shapara Williams in 1800s, in the late 19th century. The first Nigerian medical doctors were Nathaniel King, Dr. Natalia King, Dr. John Randall, Dr. Lee Shodipe, and Dr. Oguntola Shapara. These were medical doctors in the 19th century. Now, the first chartered accountant was Mr. Akintola Williams, the first chartered accountant in Nigeria. The first architect, the first civil engineer, the first Nigerian to be licensed as a civil engineer was Sir Herbert Macaulay, licensed in 1893 as a civil engineer. Now, Professor Wole Soyinka remains the the first and only Nobel Prize winner in literature. No, I think there has been a couple of other Africans, but he was the first African to bag the Nobel Prize in literature. Professor Ekundayo Adeyemi is the first professor of architecture in Nigeria. F.R.A. Williams started the first law firm in Nigeria in partnership with Bode Thomas and Remilekun Fani-Kayode. Now, Akintola Williams accounting firm is the first in Nigeria. Professor Akimabo Gunje is the first professor of geography in Africa and the first president of International Geographical Union. Now, Professor Mrs. Olubala Babalola is the first professor of quantity surveying in the entirety of Africa. Professor Babs Aliu Fafunwa is the first professor of education in Nigeria. Professor Adeton Ogunsheye is the first Nigerian professor of library and information science. Mr. Talabi Braithwaite is the first African to qualify as a chartered insurer in Nigeria. Sir Abat Macaulay was the first Nigerian to drive a car. Mrs. Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was the first female to drive a car in Nigeria. In fact, we have a professor of development economics, the first in Nigeria, who is a Yoruba man, Professor Banji Oyeyinka. Now, even amongst our religious leaders, Pastor Enoch Adejare Adeboye has a PhD in applied mathematics. Pastor W.F. Kumuyi was a first-class graduate of mathematics from the University of Ibadan. And, Pastor D.K. Olukoya has a PhD in molecular genetics. In fact, is the first Nigerian or first African, to clone genes. Pastor D.K. Olukoya. And even from the Muslim, religion, Professor Ishaq Oloyede is the professor of Islamic studies. He was once the VC of University of Ilorin and currently the registrar of JAMB. And then Professor Ishaq Akintola, also a professor of Islamic studies, is also a lecturer, at the Lagos State Universities. So the Yorubas lead in the professions. And these are the things, these people are after. They want to introduce religious extremism so that we remove our focus from that and focus on what is not important. The fourth thing is our socio-cultural, entertainment, and tourist industries that I alluded to earlier. And this has become a global phenomenon. Most of our youths in entertainment, Whiskey, Davido, to some extent Burna Boy, Thames, Erastar, these are all doing great stuff, in the entertainment industry. How do you do anything in entertainment if you're not in Lagos, for instance? So the southwest of Nigeria has become the hub for theater, for music, entertainment, cinema, and so on. Now, what are our core values?